What's going on, people? BPhife here, back at you with a new perspective on Madden Part 3. I had this up actually a couple days ago, but I got some strikes because I had NFL footage, and you know what the NFL stands for? No Fun League. That's right. They rained on my party. They rained on your party. They delayed the videos, but they didn't stop it though. That's right. So let's go ahead and get this started here. If you haven't seen the first two, go ahead and check those out. The playlist is down below. Link will be in the description. And let's go ahead and get this started real quick. And I want to talk to you because we got a lot to talk about. I only got like 15 minutes to share what I want to share with you. Okay. So in part 2, I shared with you some of the frustrations that people face in Madden, some of the flaws that are in Madden, and some of the challenges that I think that EA is facing when creating Madden. But at the end of the video, I kind of give you a little hope, a little glimmer, a little shimmer. But let's go ahead and get started real quick. I want to talk about a couple things. I took some notes here. I want to talk about what is simulation. We're going to cover that real quick. I want to talk about the different types of gamers that are out there, a realist versus a casual versus a SimHead, and maybe describe what I feel some of the differences are. But then I'm also going to give you a little disclaimer. Yeah, disclaimer to tell you what my perspective is. How can it help you? Because I know a lot of you guys have expectations. And so I just want to make sure that I'm clear with what I'm delivering to you with this series. And then another thing I want to talk about, I'm going to give some shout outs. I'm going to give some shout outs, man. I got some good shout outs I want to give real quick, but I got to get them out really fast. And then I want to talk about, as you can see right here, the elephant in the room, MLB The Show. And I want to talk about how developers have, well, in my opinion, should have 3 things to think about. And I'm going to say this is BPhife's big 3. And that is vision, execution, and tools. And I'm going to share with you, of course, my perspective. And then we're going to just kind of put it in the pot and mix it up. But let's go ahead and start off with, what is sim? What is simulation? Now, there's multiple people that could probably answer it in multiple ways. You know, like for example, the 3 types of gamers that we're talking about, they probably have 3 different opinions. And I would say this, if you could sum it up, it's basically the reenactment of something that you see. That would probably be the best way to do it. Now let's take a look. Let's dive into, because all of these topics kind of intertwine with each other, so we may jump back and forth with all of these topics, but that's the general idea of what we're talking about. Now, there's 3 different types of gamers, in my opinion. There's the casual gamer, the SimHead, and then the realist. Now, I only can speak for myself. I claim myself I am a realist, okay, which is somewhat of a hybrid between both casual gamer and simulation. But I would like to say I'm more sim-minded than casual-minded. The only thing that I really share with a casual gamer is the ability to not be as passionate and not get hung up on things being a certain way. You know, I have the ability as a realist to accept or reject what the developer is offering me, the product that they are offering me. So that's what a realist is. That's how I feel what a realist is. But let's talk about a casual gamer. Now, well, actually, we'll talk about the SimHead, okay? Now, the SimHead is the type of person that says, hey, this isn't correct. You're not representing the sport the way it should be represented. This vision of what the sport looks like is not what I expect. The execution of this sport is not what I'm familiar with. And you're not giving me the tools to do what I need to enjoy this game. That's what a SimHead is. And as you see, I kind of foreshadowed into my big three, my BPhife's big three. But a SimHead was going to be able to identify these areas and be able to appreciate when they're done correctly, and will also raise hell when they're not done correctly, especially when it's only one option. All right, you know where I'm going with that. I don't need to say anymore. Well, let's wrap up with the casual gamer. The casual gamer, to me, there's multiple ways that I look at what a casual gamer is. One is somebody that doesn't have a lot of time to invest into understanding and appreciating the sport for what it is. But they do realize that there are exciting moments, it's the trendy thing to do, and they do want to somehow experience those fun, exciting moments that people that do understand the sport enjoy. But they want that quick fix. Or maybe they're just a casual gamer is just somebody that today is the day that they feel this way and they want something else. They're ready to make a change. They don't, today they're this way, the wind blows from west to east and east to west, and that's the direction that they're going in. Or better yet, maybe they're just more interested in visuals, team colors, jerseys, shoes, pants, all of that type of stuff. Not to say that there's anything completely wrong with being a casual gamer. Like I said before, I share some of those tendencies, the ability not to be completely attached or passionate at times. But the difference is I choose when I want to do this. Casual gamers just typically, that's just what they do. Now, the issue that I have really is not really directed towards casual gamers, it's more directed towards developers. Well, let's just go ahead and stop right there, actually, because this is going to help reinforce a point that I need to make latter part of the video, okay? And I want to get on to my disclaimer, what you can expect from the perspective, and of course the perspective. And I really appreciate you guys, being patient with me. And I want to shout a couple of you guys out. Let's go ahead and get that out the way. There's 3 areas. Now, I can't shout everyone out, but there's 3 areas that I said, hey, how can I shout people out and spotlight them a little bit? There's 3 areas. There's one, the first one is the up-and-coming YouTuber. Now, this person may not be new to you, but he's new to me, so he's the up-and-comer in my eyes. And he's talking if you're listening. And that's Jero6, man. He's got good content. Check him out. The second one is shared by 2 people, actually. And this is a nostalgic shout out. I was looking through the comments of some of my previous videos, and then I rummaged through the few comments or what have you, and I saw my man Apex is Free. Shout out to Apex is Free. I still see that you're kicking. Thanks for coming through. And the other person tied in this category is Versus2. May he rest in peace. When he was alive, he and I had conversations, spanning from this and that and this, and somehow we were talking about, some of my content, how I shared with people, and then it gets adopted or understood or even practiced months, years later. And he says, you know why that is, Fife? Here's one of my observations. Let an OG like myself, let me give you some advice. He says, you have good content, Fife. However, you don't help your viewers understand how you draw on these conclusions. And I said, whoa. And I said, talk a little bit more. He goes, you got to walk with people. You got to help them understand how you're coming to these conclusions that you're drawing. And that's why I'm doing this series. I'm doing this series because I want you to understand. I want you to walk with me and talk with me, because this is kind of a long time coming. So shout out to my man Versus2. Thanks for the advice. Rest in peace. And the last shout out is really a special shout out. And I call this one the Rock of Gibraltar. Lately and recently in my videos, man, I can always count on this brother to be down in the comments breaking it down for you. And that's put him in the game. And it's not just my videos he's breaking it down. He's breaking it down on your videos too. So shout out to my man, put him in the game. All right. Now for the disclaimer. The disclaimer is simply this. My perspective on Madden and how I'm playing it and how I'm extracting a decent simulation type feel may vary depending on what type of user you are. If you're the type of user that is a casual gamer, you may look at this and say, this is a little bit too much, this is not what I asked for, and continue doing what it is that you do with Madden. If you're a SimHead and you still have that same type of feeling as a casual gamer, well, when you get desperate enough, I'm sure you may try this and hopefully it works for you. But if you're the SimHead that's open-minded and willing to try something and see whether or not it is up to a challenge, because there is a learning curve to understanding my perspective on how to play this game in a sim-like fashion, if that's possible. And that's why these next coming videos will be a tutorial on how to do that. I will show you clear examples of how I'm doing this and I'm getting this gameplay. So, and now for my perspective on Madden, my new perspective on Madden. Dun 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 dun. I'm simply just playing Madden the way I see football. That's it. It's that simple. Now, can you imagine if I would have told you that in that first video? You wouldn't understand how I came to that conclusion. That's why these videos are set up for you. And that's why I'm going to continue to make these videos so that you understand completely and thoroughly how I come to that conclusion. Because my next videos, like I said, when I have these tutorial videos that are going to show you how I'm doing this, it'll all make a lot of sense. But that's my perspective. Now, EA, now if you're listening, there's some minor fixes and minor tweaks that you could add to the game that would make my new perspective on Madden just that much better. And then those videos that I show you that I already have uploaded already. They're already uploaded. They're on private right now. They just need to be made public. And this video is the gatekeeper. But once I do that and show that, you will see what I'm talking about. And I'm not offering a suggestion. I'm offering a solution to make this game revolutionary. And if the Joe Montana people, Joe, if you're listening, I'm telling you right now, you better jump on these improvements or these things that I'm having. It's not a threat, it's not anything, it's just my advice to you to compete, because you will come in with this vision already. Now, speaking of vision, let's talk about BPhife's Big 3. Now, I'm talking to the developers real quick. I just want to holler at you guys real quick. Now, my Big 3 is this, and I hope that you guys really understand what I'm talking about. First, we're talking about the vision. You got to be really clear on the vision of the sport. It has to be the sport. The sport has to be what is presented. Because if that's not presented, if the sport's not presented, then what are we playing? We're not playing anything. There can't be this little bit of this, a little bit of the sprinkle of that, hybrid of this. That's why I say you can't cater to casuals. Because you know why? Because they don't understand the sport. They don't know what's in the sport. They just know what appeals to them today. Then the second thing is the execution. The execution is paramount, because yes, you can see something, but then you got to know how to execute it and translate what you're trying to do from that sport into a video game. And that's why I think, again, San Diego Studios just does a great job with that. And right now, they're kind of on the opposite end. They're actually catering, they actually can cater to the casual gamer right now because they have that flexibility. But last but not least, the tools. See, because a lot of you guys think that sliders are going to help you. No, sliders don't help. They don't work. It's been proven they don't work. When you have on Madden, when you turn penalties up to 100 and you can't get an offensive penalty, but you can get a face mask. Okay, granted, you can get a face mask. That proves they don't work. The tools, and we'll talk about that in the next video, I'm telling you.